For today's morning roundup. Over the course of the next 30 minutes, KRVN broadcasters will share the latest in weather, markets, and agriculture news. Join us this morning for topics and guests, including Clay Patton on weather and markets, Jayson Jorgensen with sports, Mark Gold with Top Third Ag on the grain markets, Jerry Stoll with country futures on the livestock markets, and Alex Makovica with agriculture news. Let's head inside the KRVN studios, joining Clay Patton with the latest in weather.
Good morning and welcome to 880 KRVN here on this Monday, March the 6th, and welcome to the Morning Roundup, the most 30 most important minutes of your day, where we'll cover weather, we'll cover ag news, and we'll cover markets. We'll cover the whole gamut here this morning. If you're tuning in on the live stream at KRVN's Facebook page, Twitter page, or YouTube channel, why don't you let us know where you're listening and tuning in from here today and what you're looking forward to on this busy work week. Well, as we start here into the KRVN Weather Center, that is where we see a lot of upper level 20s to mid-level 30s already moving across the region. Could still see some low-lying fogs in the area. It's going to be a little bit below seasonal temps here this week, and we've got a chance for moisture. This Weather Watch on KRVN is brought to you by Holdridge Irrigation, Ward Laboratories, and Grain IQ, bringing you the latest in the factors influencing the commodity trade.
Options. Ranke systems have lots of options to ensure your irrigation needs are met. Ranke offers 5 pipe options to match every type of water condition: galvanized steel, chromium steel, aluminum, stainless steel, and polylined. Contact Holdridge Irrigation, your local Ranke pivot dealer, to see which option is best for you. In addition to water pipe options, Ranke offers a variety of control panels to give you reliable and trouble-free use. If your needs change over time, contact Holdridge Irrigation to assist you with upgrading the control panel. Thanks to the compatibility between each Ranke control panel, changes are easy to make. Holdridge Irrigation will look at your irrigation needs and conditions and will recommend the pipe and control panel best suited for you. Ranke also has a number of specialty pivot options available. Contact Holdridge Irrigation to see which pivot option is the best fit for you and your operation.
Ray Ward always says you don't put more fuel in the tank if the gauge says it's full. The same applies for fertilizing your fields. Why apply fertilizer in areas of high fertility and starve areas in need? Soil testing ensures you put your fertilizer dollars where it counts to reduce environmental impact and maximize production. Ask your retailer or crop consultant to submit your soil samples to Nebraska Farmers' favorite lab, Ward Laboratories in Kearney. Visit wardlab.com to learn more.
Good morning, Clay Patton on the Rural Radio Network, and now it's time to take a look at the factors influencing the commodity trade today. On the line with us from Chicago is Mark Gold with Top Third Ag Marketing. Good morning, Mark.
Well, good morning. Overnight, we had May corn down 3 3/4 cents at 6.36. May wheat down 11 cents at 6.87 3/4, and May beans down 5 1/4 cents at 15.13 1/2. Obviously, we have the WASDE on Wednesday. I think the big factor is obviously going to be what's the USDA going to do with Argentinian production. Some are saying that the production should be in the range of 30 to 32 million metric tons on the beans and 36 to 39 million metric tons on the corn. I don't think the USDA is going to come out with a number that low this early. The Brazil bean harvest is moving along. It's 50% done, a little bit behind the averages. We didn't see any comments from Russia over the extension of the corridor agreement. They were pretty quiet. Apparently, Turkey is really trying to get something done, but there's been absolutely no announcements. The Delta weather is delaying some of the spring seeding because of the wet weather down there, and I think that's going to be a little bit of an ongoing problem. But I think those, as they always have, they'll get the crop in. Saffras cut the Brazilian bean number down to 152.4, down 1 million metric tons. I don't think it's nearly that low. We did have 2 sales, 110 corn to Japan, 182 corn to unknown. That may be the Chinese sales from last week.
And that is Mark Gold with Top Third Ag Marketing. You can always learn more at topthird.com. Again, the website to visit is topthird.com. Do remember, though, that trading futures and options involve risk of loss, may not be suitable for all investors, and do consider these risks before investing.
You You were almost home when suddenly you find yourself battling off the germs that cause sore throats. Luckily, you've been training for this moment by staying up to date on vaccinations, washing your hands, disinfecting surfaces at home, and avoiding touching your face. And thanks to the great tips at catchgoodhealth.org, you're on your way to being the very best at staying well. Don't let the Pikachu damage your health this cold and flu season. Instead, start your training today at catchgoodhealth.org.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Clay Patton back on the Rural Radio Network. Now let's check in on the livestock side of the trade, and that is where we talk with Jerry Stoll of Country Futures in Frankfort, Kansas. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, Clay. Not a big activity on the outside. S&P futures up 8, dollar index 4 lower, crude oil's trading 73 lower, and Dow futures up 12. Last Friday's lean hog index was 78.71, up 6, and that pork cutout value fell 16 to 85.57. Nothing exciting one way or the other. We'll just call the hogs mixed here when we open at 8:30. Cattle complex, the latest feeder index jumped 141 to 185.43. Choice beef cutout Friday night was 289.32, up 82, and that compared to 290.08 at noon. Cash fed trade got going there Friday, 165 in the south, and that was pretty much the trade in the north as well. Solidly fully steady to mostly $1 higher, and I think that's the call again this week, fully steady at worst to odds decent of more strength here in this market. Futures continue to look at the big picture and kind of watch the cash fed rally. Other than feeders, we're seeing new highs in feeders. We'll call the cattle early steady mix when we open up here at 8:30.
And that again is Jerry Stoll with Country Futures in Frankfort, Kansas. You can always learn more at countryfutures.com. Again, the website to visit is countryfutures.com. To remember, trading futures and options involve risk of loss, may not be suitable for all investors. Do consider these risks before investing. Lay out your estimated cattle slaughter on the day. 125,000 had to kick off the week. That's even with a year ago, up nearly 4,000 though from a year ago. Hog slaughter on the day, 480,000, up 1,000 from last week, up nearly 15,000 from a year ago. That's the latest in the factors on the Rural Radio Network.
We know you're good at producing grain, but we want you to be good at marketing it too. That's where we can help. Grain IQ is a brand new podcast that is supported by the Nebraska Soybean Board. We'll break down the important things to know when it comes to basis, the Chicago Board of Trade, seasonality, and a whole lot more. Hosted by Chad Moyer, Grain IQ is a production of the Nebraska Rural Radio Association in cooperation and with support by the Nebraska Soybean Board. Listen to Grain IQ on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or online at ruralradionetwork.com.
Well, thank you very much there, Alex. She explains one of the great sponsors of the factors influencing the commodity trade today. That's Grain IQ, a grain marketing podcast supported by the Nebraska Soybean Board. Subscribe and listen to Grain IQ on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and at ruralradionetwork.com. Well, if you were at the Triumph of Ag Expo last week, be watching the video at ruralradionetwork.com. You might just see yourself as well. It was a live taping there at the show for Grain IQ. As well, Ward Laboratories, thank you to Ward Labs, helping bring us the latest in our factors today as well. I interviewed Dr. Ray Ward. I believe it was during the Nebraska Farm Bureau annual meeting all the way back in December, but he won their Silver Eagle Award, and we've got that interview archived at KRVN.com. And before all of that, it was a check of the weather brought to you by Holdridge Irrigation. Let's get over to Jayson Jorgensen now, who has the latest for us. Our next part of the morning roundup, that's sports.
Come by a Rippin' Good Bull at Rippy Gelby's Bull Sale on March 11th at Fairbury Livestock in Fairbury, Nebraska. This is Dustin Rippy, and we are selling 112 Gelby and Balancer bulls and 35 commercial heifers. 43% of the pen are heifer bulls. We value maternal traits so highly we individually weigh each cow and record udder scores. To buy your first Rippin' Good Bull, go to our website and look at the videos at rippygelby.com, as in RIPPE. Don't have a pen, just call the station. That is Rippy Gelby TDAngusFeed.com.
This is Trey Wassenberger from TD Angus at Risha Ranch, here to invite you to our annual bull sale March 17th on St. Patty's Day at the ranch south of North Platte, featuring our largest offering ever with over 400 Angus bulls. This is not only our largest offering, but also our best. We offer volume discounts, free nationwide delivery, AI service, and each bull sells with an unconditional guarantee. All the calves sired by this year's bulls will be eligible for the $25,000 cash prizes in our innovative and competitive TD feed test. Also selling 600 commercial Angus replacement heifers from the heart of our customers from cow herds, and backed by popular demand, 8 ranch broke geldings ready to go to work. Also, join us the night before the sale at the ranch for a once-in-a-lifetime supply chain panel featuring sustainable beef founders that produce their own beef packing plant coming to the region in 2025. Look us up on Facebook or TDAngus.com for updates and videos of the bulls selling, or feel free to stop out at any time and view the bulls and the cow herd that made them. Join us for the program on March 17th on St. Patty's Day at TD Angus.
In just a short while, farmers all across America will be out in their fields preparing for another year's production. Some raise crops, others livestock, and still others produce different commodities, but all have one thing in common. The American farmer is part of the most productive food and fiber system on earth. The following businesses salute the American farmers and ranchers who work hard to produce food and fiber for the world.
Go Light, Moravec Auction Company in David City, and State Farm Insurance, Heidi Bazada, Cozad, and Gothenburg.
And here's Jayson Jorgensen with sports.
Hey, thanks. Well, Nebraska's late season push continued yesterday as the Huskers showed up in Iowa City and beat Iowa 81-77. This is the first time the Huskers have swept Iowa since joining the Big Ten. Huskers got it done as a collective. Sam Griesel led the way with 16 points. Freshman Jamarcus Lawrence scored 15, knocking down 5 threes. Now, with its 5th win in the last 6 games, Nebraska ends a regular season with a 16-14 record. Head coach Fred Hoiberg says it was quite a finish.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't looking like that 6 weeks ago when we had the 2 starters go down. But, we found a way to keep fighting, keep clawing and scratching. And, this team has really been, I guess, built on, a competitive spirit that every time we step on the floor, whatever is happening, they continue to go out there and battle.
Huskers finish up a respectable 9-11 in the Big Ten, earning the 11th seed in the conference tournament. They'll face off against 14-seeded Minnesota on Wednesday night around 8 inside the United Center in Chicago. We will bring you that game here on 880 KRVN. UNK women's basketball team is back in the NCAA Division II tournament for a 3rd straight year. The Lopers, who are 28-4, they were the winners of the MIAA regular season championship. They were hoping to host the Central Regional, but fell instead from the top seed to the 2nd seed after a loss on Saturday night of the conference tournament. Head coach KRVN says it's quite an accomplishment to be back in the big dance again.
Yeah, I think sometimes you forget a little bit. I think we've got to be careful not to be, disappointed in the fact that we didn't, get the number 1 seed. I mean, we're in a great situation. There's only 64 teams that are still, their seasons are still alive.
The Lopers will face off against 7th seed and MIAA rival Pittsburgh State on Friday in Duluth, Minnesota. Now, the Lopers beat Pittsburgh State twice during the regular season. We will bring you Friday's game on 93.1 The River and 106.9 in Kearney. Husker baseball team ended up going 2-1 in the Twin Cities this weekend. Yesterday, they fell to defending champ and 4th-ranked Ole Miss 14-5. The Huskers are 5-4-1 on the year. They are scheduled to host Northern Colorado tomorrow afternoon. Turned out to be a decent weekend for the Husker wrestling team. They finished 3rd at the Big Ten Championships. Silas Allred highlighted the day, winning the 197-pound Big Ten title. He's Nebraska's first conference champion since 2015. The Huskers put 5 wrestlers in the finals this weekend and clinched 7 automatic bids to the upcoming NCAA championships. That is a look at sports. For more, you can find that anytime at krvn.com. I'm Jayson Jorgensen.
Are you or someone you know struggling with managing diabetes? Cozad Community Health Systems is here to help. They understand the importance of diabetes education and are here to help with one-on-one or group sessions to answer any questions that you may have about long and short-term complications of diabetes, monitoring blood sugars, healthy eating, and more. Call Cozad Community Health Systems at 308-784-3535 to talk with a diabetes education expert. Cozad Community Health Systems, caring for you and your family.
A world in transition demands a greater understanding of global scenarios. That's HedgePoint Global's motto. When it comes to grain and agricultural markets, John Payne and the SITREP report are that understanding of global scenarios. John has decades of experience in domestic and global ag markets with connections and experiences to give him a cutting edge in understanding the global trade picture. Join the SITREP report with John Payne at hedgepointglobal.com.
Like the Huskers, Blue Chip Herefords of Oxford, Nebraska is bringing you top stock from across the nation. Yearling bulls for sale, private treaty out of two-time and current supreme national champion bull Bel Air. These Hereford bulls have wide tops and big butts. Also coming 2-year-old bulls out of Sensation 028X, the Cabinese specialist. Contact Tracy McGee at 308-991-2263. That's 308-991-2263.
Is your monthly internet bill hurting your wallet? Then you need to hear about the Affordable Connectivity Program, a federal program that provides a $30 benefit to help you with your monthly internet bill. If you or anyone in your household is enrolled in programs such as free and reduced lunches, SNAP, Medicare, or have received a Pell Grant, and more, you may be eligible. Visit the Hastings Public Library on March 8th from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. to get enrolled. For more information, go to scedd.org/broadband, sponsored by the South Central Economic Development District of Nebraska.
823 at 880 KRVN. Good morning to you and welcome to the Morning Roundup on KRVN. So glad you're able to tune in with us. We're back inside the KRVN Weather Center where a cold front's bringing mostly cloudy skies and cooler temps to the start to your work week. Unsettled weather, though, could begin as early as tomorrow night, but most of the moisture expecting to wait until Thursday. Now, the difference between last Friday to today, the forecast models have shifted most of this moisture back up to the north, so it doesn't look like we really stand too big of a chance of seeing too much accumulation of snow. Join the Rural Radio Network in 60 seconds.
When that 100-pound Acme anvil fell 10 stories onto Wile Coyote, he learned about compaction. I know you, as a modern farmer, know all about compaction and how it affects production. That's why you should get in touch with Nebraska Land, Kansas Land, or Colorado Land Tire Group about getting your equipment outfitted with flotation tires before farming season hits. Your nearest Nebraska Land, Kansas Land, or Colorado Land Tire shop can outfit everything from sprayers to grain carts, combines, and tractors with flotation tires. They're not just about fixing tires. They're here to improve your production as well. Find them online at thetirestore.com. If you happen to live in or around Cozad, Elwood, Overton, or Thedford, you're in a pretty good spot in the world. Sure enough, you have great communities that you're rightfully proud of. One of the things that makes Cozad, Elwood, Overton, and Thedford great places is Security First Bank. Modern banking with a big old dose of common sense has proven a pretty good business model for Security First Bank, so they're going to keep on keeping on doing what they do best, supporting you and your neighbors in your business and personal endeavors. Security First Bank, come build your success on our foundation. Member FDIC.
With an update to the latest in agriculture news here on the Rural Radio Network, I'm Bryce Doeschot. Hope you're having a great start to the Monday morning. He sees pressure and a bit of a downward trend for the corn market. That is the perspective of Darren Newsom of Darren Newsom Analysis. Speaking last week at the Triumph of Ag Expo, he shared the reasons for his thoughts.
Yeah, a couple big things. Number one, if we look at the cash market, it's been dropping here recently. We've seen some pressure. We've seen some slightly weaker basis. We've seen futures markets going lower. So the net result is cash markets going lower. Demand is slowing down. We still have plenty of cattle on feed. But as we moved through February, it just seemed like there was fewer than there was at the beginning of the month. And then we've got ethanol demand hasn't kicked into its seasonal highs yet. And exports just can't get rolling. At some point they might, they just haven't yet. So you've got all three legs of demand weighing on the corn market, and that's pulling down the cash. On the new crop, December got very interesting early in midweek because the key was 561.75. If it broke that and then hit 560, that really needed to hold. If it didn't, then all of a sudden the doors opened up to 540 and 545. So we saw it midweek. We saw it get down to something like 544, something like that, 544, 545, and it stopped. 565, and it stopped. And then it started to rally again. So for now, it's held those lows. We'll see if it can continue through the spring.
But on the long term, at least for now, he is bullish.
Fundamentals have not changed, at least not right now. As we sit here today in early March, fundamentals are still long-term bullish, corn, soybeans, not necessarily wheat, but corn and soybeans. That hasn't changed. It could change. It could change as we move deeper into 23, but that's still the underlying theme, is that fundamentally both markets are still bullish.
That is Darren Newsom of Darren Newsom Analysis. Well, Nebraska Extension is looking to gather some additional information on cow-calf producers' mineral supplementation practices. To better establish research and educational resources needed for beef cattle producers, Nebraska Extension has released a producer needs survey targeting cow-calf producers. If you're interested in participating in the anonymous survey to help Nebraska Extension, we'll post the survey link under the Livestock tab later today at ruralradionetwork.com. The 2023 World Pork Expo is set to return to Des Moines, Iowa this summer, June 7th through the 9th. That event has grown to become the world's largest pork-specific trade show. Last year, more than 10,000 pork producers and ag professionals worldwide participated. Also in the news this morning, USDA Secretary Tom Vilsack is going to be visiting the 2023 Commodity Classic to serve as the keynote speaker later this week. Today, we are coming to you from inside the Nebraska Soybean Board Studio, which is brought to you in part by Nebraska soybean farmers and their checkoff. You're listening to an agriculture news update here on the Rural Radio Network.
Hi, everyone. Adam Marshall with 2 upcoming online auctions. March 14th is our large online no-reserve equipment auction. This auction will feature equipment from the Dakey estate, including a 2011 John Deere 9670 combine, a 2004 John Deere 8220 mechanical front tractor, and a John Deere 4560 tractor, plus many other items. Call to consign. Then, April 4th is an online auction for farm and construction toys. Call to consign for this auction. We are accepting items now. Learn more about these selling opportunities at marshallbid.com.
Well, hey there. This is Pat Margaret of the Dawson County Farm Bureau. Recent headlines of a man losing his life in a grain bin is a very sad reminder. We all need to be careful around the farm. Now is the time that a lot of grain leaves the bin, so remember, if at all possible, avoid going into a bin. If you do have to enter a bin, make sure to have someone there and use proper safety equipment like a rope and safety harness. Thinking ahead and a little patience can keep everyone safe on the farm. This safety message was brought to you by your local County Farm Bureau.
Producers, join us at the Warner Beef Bull Sale Wednesday, March 8th at 1 p.m. at the Ranch, Arapahoe, Nebraska. Offering the best yet, Balancer, Gelbvieh, and Sim Angus bulls, including 70 big stout 18-month-old bulls and 70 fantastic spring yearlings. Every bull sells with a complete data set, genomics, fertility tested, and our unconditional guarantee, along with free keep and free delivery. Don't miss this opportunity to increase the pay weight and profitability of your calf crop with a Warner Beef bull. For more information, contact Dan at 308-962-6511 or visit us at warnerbeef.com. Or you can view and bid online at dvauction.com. That's the Warner Beef Genetic Investment Bull Sale, Wednesday, March 8th at Arapahoe, Nebraska. Offering the best yet, Balancer, Gelbvieh, and Sim Angus bulls.
Good morning. Clay Patton on the Rural Radio Network now with a check of your opening commodity trade. Overnight session is in the negative. Wheat taking the brunt of the losses. That's as turkey over the weekend, more specifically on Sunday, notes that they're trying to renegotiate with Russia, bring them back to the negotiating table, and keep the Black Sea corridor open for Ukraine to continue safely exporting grain. Meanwhile, the corn and soybeans are also under pressure here as we kick off on the early morning. That's as Brazil's soybean harvest reaches 43% complete, and 70% of the Safrinha corn crop is now in the ground. Still, both those a little bit behind on the seasonal average. After a strong close on Friday, the cattle and hog market find follow-through buyers early on the open. We'll see if they can continue that trade into the day. March corn, 641 3/4, down 3.5. May corn, 636 1/4, down 3 3/4. July corn, 624, down 4. March soybeans, 1527 1/2, down 3. May 1514 1/2, down 4 1/4. July soybeans 1501 1/4, down 5. March Chicago wheat 685 1/4, down 10 1/2. May 697 1/2, down 11 1/4. July 705 3/4, down 11 1/4. May Kansas City wheat $8 1/2, down 15 3/4. July 795, down 13 3/4. September 799 1/2, down 12 1/2. April live cattle's unchanged, $65.42. June live cattle, though, $60.82, up 15. August live cattle, $1.60, up 10. April feeders, $96.32, up 30. May, $201.30, up 35. August, $215.10, $116.10 up 42. Meanwhile, on the lean hog side of the trade, June lean hogs are $100.90 up 27. July 103.17 up 32. On the outside trade, the Dow opens 11 higher, 33,402. Farmers